It's like 50-ounce cup. 50-ounce cup. Ah, so thought it was like Thanksgiving, but I guess it's technically Christmas. I don't know. I snatched it up before it was all gone. You can put two 20 ounces in here, you know what I mean? 224, really, right? Man, so I didn't know what it was. Like they couldn't find it, like in my leg, the fracture. And so I went in there. But I think this is one of my theories. This is my theory about um how this happened. Almost positive. Almost positive. So bear with me. I think when I had both my legs surgically adjusted, right, cosmetically adjusted, like my ankles, both of them were broken and aligned. So it was a cosmetic procedure because we were born, we evolved to walk, right? But it wasn't a perfect evolution. You know, on all fours to upright, right? We have some vestigial bones and ligaments down there, so it's not it's not as efficient as it could be. You got to remove some of that and realign it and move the ligaments around, right? And they figure out how to do it. Lo and behold, modern science and shit. So they offer a procedure to cosmetically, for a quality of life, bracket, remove, a few things, adjust a few things, break a few things, realign the ligaments, remove a few whatever, switch it all around and make it more efficient. In the process, then you gotta take like a little hammer and shit like that, and all this other crazy shit and break it. So, and that happened about a year ago, on both one leg and then the other. So, the standing theory is when that was doing it, he did a great job. But sometimes it's imperfect and there's a tibia bone. You knock it a little bit hard, and I had a fracture along the inside of length of the whole bone or whatever, and it just gradually grew. It never properly healed, so you didn't really feel it, but it was there. And like microscopically, saying you just nudge it a little bit, it was just very gentle. And they said it's possible a stress fracture, but we can't find it. That's what causes the pain or whatever. And so they did like two X-ray. I had like multiple X-rays. They couldn't find it. I had a CAT scan. I had two CAT scans, one CT scan, three X-rays, whatever. I mean, on the last CAT scan, they finally found it. On the third, obviously, it was broken by the third X-ray. But anyway, so I was sent home for 3 weeks or whatever. It was just like a stress fracture at that point. Rip core muscle and everything. Because that happened, and then I was weightlifting, right? So I did my leg extensions and I rack it a little bit. So that leg extension constantly going like this is probably what really did it. I mean, the other weightlifting that I do, probably not so much, whatever, on my legs, because it's more of the force is more up and down, I'm talking about. So maybe that had a little bit to do with it. But when you're doing the leg extensions, course, you're pushing up and you're going down, and now here's your bone, and you're pushing. The force is going down, right? Because the weight is, I mean, the force is going down, you're pushing up, right? And so all that force is pushing down your bone's pushing up or whatever. That started to, shake it a little bit more because I started to feel a little bit more. I was like, why is this not really healing? I'm talking about. I was like, what the fuck? And I thought it was just like ligament or whatever. I didn't know it was internal because I thought it was just running along the top of the ligament of the bone. And so I was like, all right, I could do that. I could deal with a little bit of pain, until it would gradually go away as it heals. That's what I was told. It's elevated and shit like that. Went in the emergency room, and that's what they told me. They still couldn't find it. Because then I was like, all right, I'm good. Nothing's been hurting for a while, times I never really, I guess, naturally got into this mode of not really utilizing it, not running around or whatever. Is I mean, I went to the emergency room after this, whatever, right? So did leg extensions. It gradually hurt, whatever, and then I stopped weightlifting for about a month, and I was like, okay, it's nothing's hurting, whatever. I need to go back to weightlifting soon. Just got my car, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna start doing cardio, full blast or whatever. So I went from weightlifting then stopping weightlifting for a month or whatever. So I got all that built up muscle, right? And then no cardio, right? So now then only have no cardio, and then I stop with the other aspect of training, physical training is weightlifting. So that's two different aspects, right? Endurance and then power, right? So I had the power and with like no endurance, but I was like, okay, I gotta start cardio. Today's the day, start cardio. I need to weightlift and do cardio. Just got my car, I want to go full out. Took off sprinting, boom. I'm talking about all that muscle. Still had that stress fracture, but it didn't hurt for a month because I didn't know. I was like, all right, I didn't feel that pain, no big deal. That amount of muscle just wrapped around it, twisted it, and it caused the stress fracture, like the noticeable stress fracture or whatever, right? Um, but from taking off on like a full sprint, and it was just so noticeable. I'm talking about, I was just like, fuck, what the fuck was that? I went to the emergency room. They after a sonogram because the emergency room couldn't find it. They couldn't find anything. I'm talking about. Then finally, I got a sonogram. They found the rib muscle. Um, but I went to one doctor. It's possible, that stress fracture. We can't see it. It's microscopic, but it's probably there more or less. It's there. Now, doctor didn't know what the fuck he was doing. I had no idea. Another doctor didn't know what the fuck he's doing, but my other doctor knew we got to treat it like a stress fracture. If this one doctor says what it is, whatever, right? So it just needed one simple catalyst to actually break. So went to see my doctor. They started, doing all this other stuff, whatever. But okay, you got to do this, got to do that. Have it heal. It should heal on its own. Just stay off of it, whatever, right? So 10 days later, boom. I'm talking about. I was just in my house. I torqued it. I torqued my ankle. I'm talking about. It was just something very mundane, nothing fantastical. Um, Boom. I'm talking about. That stress fracture just enlarged. That torquing action, or whatever. My ankle, just and tripping over shit. Boom, being me a clumsy dumbass and shit. Boom. You know what I mean? I was just like, fuck. I was like, and it's all from the alignment of my fucking ankles. I'm talking about? I was like, fuck, dude. I'm talking about? It's just like shit. And and then with weightlifting, activating it. What I'm saying? I mean, it's just like you got to be ultra honest and real about what happened, so you don't repeat that shit. And I'm so glad. I'm glad. Because I had that cosmetic procedure, and not many people could get that. And the VA, was like, okay, since you have a bone condition, will allow you to have that, so you have a better quality of life. And if this is the only thing that is repercussions of it, I'm okay with it. I'm fine. What I'm talking about? The worst of it is over. It was painful as fuck. Oh my God, it was painful. And the VA, the Tripler, people at Tripler took so good care of me. I mean, you don't even understand, how good care of me, but, it's just like, I know the origins of it, I mean, I would have to sit down with a bunch of doctors and go through it, have them agree, and be like, all right, is that plausible or not, or whatever. But I'm almost positive that's the chain of events, whatever, And granted, but is a very aggressive person, what I'm talking about? So I wanted to take off. I needed to take off, you know, and all that muscle mass is boom, just ripped into it. And just shook it, just shook my whole bone and ankle just kicking up on it, what I'm talking about? And, like when you step down, it's 3 times your body weight. But when you're sprinting, that's like 10 times your body weight. And it was a lateral inside your bone like that. And so it was inside, right? And so me taking off, like, say, it was like this, like that, and taking off, all that would just like shift because the bones are not in the center or whatever, so I would just knock a little bit off here, whatever. Now it was enough to break the fracture, you know what I mean? And then finally, the torquing action, how torque works, whatever, just twisted a little bit and I heard it. And they're like, oh my God, yeah, it's broken. But the thing about it is, it broke, and not like you typically think of a broken leg. It broke and it didn't move. Like it just broke. That stress fracture just traveled almost surgically up, the leg, or whatever. You know what I mean? They're like, how the fuck did that happen? You know what I'm talking about? And so a little hammer, ding ding, to break and remove those vestigial bones in your ankle that you don't need. Nothing's perfect. I'm just saying, and I don't want to blame that doctor at all. I'm so glad I had that surgery. And I don't place blame on nobody except for those two emergency room doctors. You know what I'm talking about? You're all pieces of shit. You know what I'm talking about? But the ones that took care of me at the Triple Martin, they were the best. I even had one. I had one a nurse that was shot in Afghanistan. You know what I mean? He was pretty funny. You know what I mean? But they're all really good people. You know what I'm talking about? Really, it's just that when you're not dealing with veterans, or what you have to do, when you're not dealing with people like patriots, true patriots, you got to deal with those pieces of shit. You know what I mean? And it's infuriating. You know what I mean? You always got to find good people, and those are people that reciprocate. You know what I'm saying? And the other people, fuck them. You know what I mean? But the best care in the world. I even had experimental procedure done because the shit hurt so bad because I have a bone condition and I got a block and everything. So I'm more than grateful. And that guy was great too. The anesthesiologist, man. It's just like they you know what I'm saying? You can't. It shows how much you care. You know what I'm talking about? By this, what I'm talking about? This you could just tell. You know what I'm talking about? What you put out. It's like and you don't even feel obligated. It's just natural that you reciprocate. You know what I mean? Those are the good people you want, and they're the smart, brilliant people. All of them over at Triple Man that just took care of what I needed to for those 3 days that I was in there for taking care of that leg. And now I know I'll make a full recovery because I'm like extremely thorough about how this exactly happened. You know what I mean? And I can't be happier. And I wanted it. I pushed for the alignment of my ankles so I could I could take off more, and boom, it went it went sideways. I'm fine with it. I'm cool with it. It's the last part of it. Boom, I get done with it. Very last part is it when they remove the hardware in 6 months, and a month after that, boom, everything from the realignment of my ankles will be done with, and I'm happy. And then I'll be at like 110% because I'll be able to actually be mobile a little bit. I'm not gonna run. I'll do a little stairs and stuff like that. High intensities. Boom, you know what I mean? And then I'll cut it off. And I'm gonna be swimming and shit like that, so I don't put pressure on things. Because I see people needing all this crazy shit, like knee surgeries and replacing. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing running. Fuck all that shit. You know what I mean? It's like, you gotta treat your body correct, nutrition, whatever. So I'm gonna be swimming and shit like that, and just hitting the weights 80%, 80% occasionally finding the 100% or the max, whatever, so I know what the 80% is. And even that, even if you just know 95%, all you gotta hit is around that range of 80-ish, whatever, I'm talking about, which will trigger muscle growth, whatever. Anyways, and so just do that because if I dip below a certain level, I'll have bone pain, and I'll deal with I have a higher level of dealing with more pain or whatever. But when I lift, everything, the muscle cushions everything, and it forces my bones to, you know, uh, reform better. I'm talking, I won't say perfect, but the whole body is more efficient, and have a more efficient body and a bone that's forced to um build more correctly is better for me. I reduce, pain where so I can, it's not smart to do heavy ass powerlifting. I'm 5'6", I'm talking about. I'm not gonna be throwing over cars and shit, you know. But I could look at it, I could body build or whatever. I'm more than happy with that. And down the line, I'm very lucky that I'm financially stable and shit like that. There's better things in there for me. And once that happens, I have it because I might have like um other things done that that's very I won't say exotic or rare, but that even make my body better. I'm talking about, heighten my body literally, I'm talking about, so I'm good. But I got to prepare for that, and like I literally want to be able to full call up, just have thing like whatever I want delivered to me, whatever. Once that is there, I'll do that. You know what I mean? And that's really not. I can't really judge it, but it's I just want to make sure those 6 months are planned out or whatever. You know what I mean? So I don't want to say um definitively when or whatever. I can't. So I'd be like um I don't know. I just don't want to state it. You know what I'm saying? Like when people are like on this date and 3 o'clock, whatever, or I have exactly, I don't like to do that. You know what I mean? So it's not me. But I was gonna talk about some other shit like movies I went to see Dune. And I totally misread the title. I thought it was the whole book in one. But when it cut to faded black, I was like, thank God, it's only part one. Oh my God. But but I was like watching Jason Momoa and shit like that. I was like, I guess he's not in part two. Fuck. But I was like, I mean, what was the backstory? I was like, fuck, dude. I want to see more about the Sutter car. Like, why are they so vicious? You know what I mean? They got show like them training and they're going on some mission, just being badass. Then him like making, how did he earn respect with you know, them guys? I forget what they're called. You know what I'm saying? The people on Arrakis and shit like that. I mean, had to have some battles and fight, and work his way up and shit. All these sort of the end battle scene was cool, but it should have been a little bit elongated. Say one person against like the elite or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know. I'm just saying everyone a little bit nicer. Just a little bit more backstory on that shit. It's like okay, Jason Momoa. All right, He's a battle guy. He has native blood. Everybody knows he's a hard ass, and boom, I know this naturally go. He's going to be the elite of elite. No, you got to show the shit, man. You got to, boom, boom, build up to it. And so his death means something, not just like okay, you sort of know it's going to be like, 1,000,000 to 1 odds and shit like that, But you gotta, this. If you know that, you gotta even do it more, because you already expect it, so you gotta make sure it all fits in. You know what I mean? It's like okay, we'll just throw it up there. I'm just saying it should be a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, knowing the what they were. So just sort of blended into an antagonist thing, and a blind antagonist, not like this nemesis type of I don't know. It wasn't fully explained. You know what I mean? But that's just me. That's just me. I mean, you like warrior cultures. I'm like every other man, like warrior cultures and everything else. So I like to see that those special like interactions of everything. Really catch your attention. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. And then I went to see Eternals, and the only thing I got from that was campy. Um, I don't know, man. It was like I was just I don't know. It was there. The only thing I liked was when the Sentinel came back as like returned to be judged. So I don't want to record that part. Just forget about everything. And why did Salma Hayek die? First off, the one Latina who's hot as fuck. I'm talking about dies off, and there's no native people. So the Latina dies, and there's no native people. How is that multicultural? You know what I'm saying? It's just like okay, you know what I mean? It's just it's just I don't know. I don't even know. It's just like why do people have? I mean, it's just I don't even understand. I don't get it. You know what I mean? This is why we're forced to be, assertive, and I'm talking about and confront all the inaccuracies and injustices. You know what I mean? More so than any other culture. You know what I'm saying? People was like, oh, Blake was, you know what I mean? They're all this argumentative. No, trying to address specific fucking problems, and that's why, they need to speak up and do speak up, and you hear about it. It's just not just blind fucking random arguments for no reason and shit like that. It's because shit's wrong. Native Americans, there's so many issues that, you have to be, you have to make sure you're heard, what I'm talking about? And so it's not a coincidence. What I'm talking about? I'm just look at it, what I'm saying? Look at Maori, I'm talking against the British, and they speak up, Tiki and Momo, whatever, I'm talking about Native against and him with Native American rights, and Polynesian and Native American speaking for each other's Native rights. I mean, you always see it. I mean, it's not a coincidence. The same. Anyways, all right, I'm good. I'm so glad I'm out of the hospital. Going off ranting, going off on a tangent. Let me do a few things. Oh man, this setting up my Christmas tree is gonna be a bitch, but I gotta get ready for it. I'm out. Peace.